25th of September 2022. You're very welcome back to the channel. We're back to smart meters and electricity. And I was talking to a lady the other day who looks at my videos, and she says, you know something, she says, everything to do with this green agenda is a scam. Everything to do with it. And I'm inclined to think that with the exception of a bit of retrofitting of homes and that, everything about it is a scam. We're relying on fossil fuel energy, and the crisis in Europe is proof of that. Just when the Russians cut off the gas and they're going mad about the cold winter coming, nobody is mentioning the elephant in the room. Where is all the wind turbines and where is all the solar farms? And this includes even California and everywhere else. There's a crisis because what I have said, this whole green nonsense is all just that. We're a fossil fuel society, and the fact that they're going around craving other places like Saudi Arabia and Oman and Norway for fossil fuel proves we're a fossil fuel society after spending billions and billions on useless renewable energy. But this article here, I'm not sure if you can read it right. The cameras on this side of the phone is smart meters cost consumers more. And I'll just read. Watchdog launches a probe. This is what gets me. The watchdog launches a probe. Why didn't he launch the probe before he gave them all this, our money? Now, the energy regulator is carrying out a probe into smart meter tariffs after it emerged that some of the plans offered to households are more expensive than traditional ones. Surprise, surprise. Then people, oh, I got prepay. But then the electricity went out when I was cooking the kids' dinner. I got prepay. Prepay is nothing different. You still pay for it. I mean, and in fact, with the account, you have some chance of finishing lunch. And people are running into arrears. There's no arrears with prepay. If you go prepay, you're a fool, no matter who you are. But I will say that with the smart meter, this is an attempt to get you to use the electricity when it suits them. And it's also a new world order, big brother watching every move you make. And you need to be wide awake to that. Now, so the energy regulator, whom I met 12 years ago and warned about all this, and he laughed at me. Now, this is despite the fact that smart meter rates are being marketed as a way for consumers to save money. If you believe this advertising nonsense out of any of these electricity or gas suppliers, you're a fool. You're an absolute fool. And they couple gas to electricity, which should not be done, because in many parts of Ireland, and this house I'm in here doesn't use connected gas. We use bottle gas, and you can buy gas in a cylinder, in a big tank and all that. So it's not true that we're all using gas like that, although a lot of homes do. Now, it has emerged some of the smart meter time of use tariffs work out more expensive over the year than conventional energy rates. Now, I'll read that again, for God's sake, people. What is wrong with people that they won't listen? It has emerged some of the smart meter time of use tariffs work out more expensive over a year than conventional energy rates. Well, if anyone is surprised at that, the only surprising thing is that it's actually getting out. And I have to say that's useful, because I'd say that a lot of those in government would like we don't get checking our costs. There are watchdogs out there doing a good job. But I'm amazed that anyone can publish anything. I was told by a person who has connections in Leinster House that the TDs are being warned to shut their mouths. And some of them, even independent ones, are listening. When John Kelly, the Labour senator for Roscommon, he's now not a Labour senator anymore. I think he was a teacher or something like that, but he became a senator anyway. And when he went to complain about the windmills, and I was helping him on that, and he was listening to what I said, he was brought in and dressed down by the civil service. And he was a decent man. He just listened and he complained. For me, I'd be doing a bit more than that. To be a bit stamping on the floor. I had the cheek of these unelected rascals to come along and try to stifle the public representatives. But that is what they are doing. Close to 1 million smart meters have been installed in homes. Now, this is the Irish Independent, right? Doesn't matter the date. Installed in homes, but just 37,900 customers have activated them and signed up. I already cancelled mine, you know that. And I didn't come to put it in yet. So people said underneath, they said, oh, it doesn't matter, you have to, they'll come anyway and put a welded a plate on the wall and bolt it in. I didn't do that. They haven't come yet. No. So they've acted, it's only 37,000 out of 1 million. Now just think of that. 1 million. 1 million is 100,000 multiplied by 10 in my book, and only 37,900, we'd say 38,000 consumers have activated them and signed up for the first time use of smart tariffs. Some smart meter units rates are far higher than standard day or night rates. What jackasses the people of Ireland are. And I'm convinced that you could tell them, even if we could tell the future, people used to say, you don't know what's you don't know what's before you. You don't know when you go out the door what could happen. What I'm inclined to think, that if I could tell the future, or somebody could tell the future, and you told a fella getting into a car, you're going to be killed up the road, he would not listen. He would not listen. And if 50 million of them were killed, they still wouldn't listen. That is nature of people. You cannot forewarn them. And people used to say about God, and why didn't God predict the future and all that. It didn't matter whether he did or not. They weren't going to believe him anyway. And that's the simple fact. Anyway, some smart feet, right, but they're dearer. There are far higher rates for smart meters than the ordinary day and night rates. And it says day or night rates. The Commission for Regulation of Utilities said it was working with the ESB networks to find out why some of the tariffs are more expensive. Ah, Jenny. Ask me, Father, if I'm a liar. Go to law with the devil and the court in hell. He's working with the ESB networks. They must the crowd putting in the things. How would they know anything about it? They only put them in. They only installed them. What a jackass. What a jackass. We'll go over, where is this carried over? I'll just pause till I go over to the next page. I can't help laughing. Right, I found the page. We'll go over here. Regulator probes tariffs. The energy regulator is carrying out a smart probe. Now this is continued on page 4. So he's carrying out an inquiry into it, and I've read all that. Now I've done all that. So this is a replay. We go on down. You know I'm reading inside. It comes as householders are hit with an eighth price rise in the latest wave of hikes. So it comes as householders are hit with an eighth price. So they're going up 1/8. Yeah, some crowd announced they were going up yesterday. Electricity bills are going up by 17% and gas bills by 23% from October the 26th. But that's on top of a massive increase so far. It is the 7th price rise from flow gas. 7th price rise from flow gas since the start of last year. There is no rise in the standing charge. So flow gas, they're in on it too, and they put it up again. 7 times. This is the 8th. That must be what they mean. It must be this the 8th price rise. It doesn't matter. It's going up by inordinate amounts. Flow gas has some of the highest standing charges at up to 600 a year for electricity. That's to pay for their oil windmills, most of that, and all this old stuff. The latest price rise will add around €340 a year to electricity bills. That'll tighten them. They'll not have much left out of their pensions when they fork up this. This is exactly what I predicted down through the years, and I was totally and utterly ignored, except for a few loyal subscribers here and a few people around the country. But there wasn't enough of us to get the message across, and now the evil day has arrived. 340 extra, like the latest price rise. Donald Cassidy of the price comparison site bonkers.ie said. That bonkers.ie, they do a check of that. I think they're good. I don't know. I know a few people use them. I have no thing. In total, 2 million electricity users are expected to be hit with huge energy price rises next month. Where's the petrol generator and where's the diesel generator? They're appearing everywhere. They're selling them everywhere. Meanwhile, the CRU confirmed it is probing tariffs for electricity customers who are on smart meters. That's the CRU, the Commission for Regulation of Utilities. He's probing it now. And I told him 12 years ago this was the case. The CRU admitted in some cases customers have a day and night meter, and tariffs do not compare favourably to the smart meter tariffs that some suppliers are currently offering. It said this was down to how individual suppliers price their products. So it looks to me like the smart meter is tied into the various companies. I don't exactly know how it works, but it looks to me, I thought the smart meter had a thing on it where if you used the electricity, did the washing in the middle of the night when there wasn't such a demand, you got a slight reduction. I thought that was the idea of it. But oh, by the way, I showed a generator. I did a program on a petrol generator, and I met a man who does contracting work, and he says some of those Honda style generators that are not genuine Hondas, that's very hard to get parts. I can't say, I don't know, but just warn me about that. We'll be looking at generators again anyway. Well, anyway, mine has got me, I've got several years out of it, and it owes me nothing. It was very handy there. I was doing a job, doing a bit of a yard job, renovations and concrete and steel work, and the little generator was worth anything to be able to bring it around and just get it started up. So anyway, that's all right. There's not any more there. There is ongoing work with ESB networks and suppliers to understand the reason for some of the higher tariffs, if there are any barriers that may be influencing the scope of tariff suppliers are currently offering. I mean, just emphasize this. We're 11 minutes in. There is ongoing work with ESB networks and suppliers to understand the reason for some of the higher tariffs, if there are any other barriers that may be influencing it, or that they don't know about. To understand, imagine with the state's main energy regulator and ESB networks, which is part of EirGrid, where the system operator, they do the work, you'll see them going around. Imagine that the word understand comes into it. Imagine the word understand. These are the people who got the jobs, who applied for the jobs, their staff got the jobs, on the basis that they did understand it, that the likes of myself, a farmer, or you, whatever else you do not have to get involved in this. These are the people who are supposed to understand it. But I happen to understand it, and I've happened to be roaring at them for years, and they wouldn't listen. What a crowd of incompetent, what a crowd they are. Unbelievable. The CRU urged customers to compare the tariffs available, as other suppliers may offer better value. Well, that's your job. And then we're in a situation with increasing inflation, where the value of money is decreasing 10% a year, and we're in a situation where the price of energy is going up so fast that we can't know what's what. I mean, you check flow gas today and it's 150, and tomorrow you check ESB Electric Ireland and it's 142. But the flow gas could be because the prices went up. Next week, ESB Electric Ireland could be 172 because the price has gone up. But they'll tell you oil, coal and gas. As market continues to evolve and there is greater amount of data from smart meters, we expect to see an increase in the smart tariff offering to customers that better suits their usage. Now, there's a Mr. Cassidy said many of the smart tariffs on offer do not seem to offer great value, blah, 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 blah. Folks, you've had enough. I just want to say this to you. The way the price of electricity at wholesale is fixed is that whatever is the highest form of generation. So we'll have these couple of things here. So we have coal, oil, gas, and wind, we'll say, right? Coal, oil, gas, and wind. And instead of having the average or adjusting for the various ones, if any one of these goes up, right? Any one of them goes up, we'd say coal goes up, they get that price. That's as I understand it. Or if not, they get the price of the majority. of it, right? They get that price. So at the moment, this is right. This bit is guaranteed. We'll say this is gas. We'll go the red one for gas. We'll say this is gas, the red one. Okay. So if the gas goes up, they get, all of them goes up. So it's not this way for a wholesale price. This is not what happens. This is what happens. The whole lot goes up. That is the stupid crowd of villains we're dealing with. Look at, so here's the windmills here, the blue. The price of gas goes up. You don't keep these at the same. If coal is cheap, if oil is cheap, once the gas goes up, they get the full price. Then if the gas were to come right down to here, and the coal goes up to here, they get the whole lot goes up. If both of these come down, the coal and gas, and the oil goes up to here, they go up to the oil price, and of course wind benefits no matter what they do. So instead of having a situation throughout Europe, and it's the same in Germany, whereby if the gas gets very scarce and they convert to alternatives, instead of paying for the price of the new product, which is cheaper, we'll say that they eliminated gas entirely. Instead of paying for the cheaper forms gets the price of gas. Once they make 1 megawatt hour of gas, then the whole lot gets the same. Now just think of the elected representatives who did this on their consumers. And the other thing they're at now, they're talking now of putting a windfall tax on them. They realise what they've done, and instead of forcing a new system, because they're probably contracted, they should nowadays change it now from at least today or tomorrow to a variable system where they get the aggregate of the total. Instead of doing that and changing that, they put a tax on the whole lot because they're making a Klondike. So if you're a generator there, a supplier, and the gas goes way up on you, right, you have to charge your consumer that extra price, and they're doing that when it goes on a quarterly basis. So when the quarter comes, you start charging. But because they don't have to pay a lot for the coal or the oil, a lot less, they can pocket that money. Now they have to pay the windmills the price of the gas. So the windmills are laughing all the way to the bank at the moment. Even the only problem they have is they cannot get the wind to blow, and they're still in trouble. Now just to go over that again, there are several different pay systems feeding into the grid. Okay, which the gas is high, the people making the electricity can charge that price even though they're not paying that price for the oil or the coal. As well as that, as the prices go up, for some reason they're adding on to even the total price. They're scooping it up now to pay their shareholders because they weren't making enough money up to now, and now they're making supernormal profits. They wouldn't do that if they didn't have a monopoly situation. It's the generators, of which there's only a few, that are not offering competitive prices. And we are not getting the truth on that. We're not being told about that. Do you understand? Now, I hope I brought it a bit clearer to you. The correct way was to pay for each fuel and each source, including wind, by the price of the spot market at the particular time, so that you didn't pay for the highest in the class, the highest one, instead of that. And that's how they're making their money. Not on wind, because they have to pay the wind the full whack, but for the coal and the at Money Point, and the oil and the distillate oil and the heat systems, the what do you call it, the waste to heat systems and all that. They are the energy company. We'll say it's Flowgas. They're getting in much more. They're charging for the highest system of the gas price, whereas they're only having to pay for the other things underneath here at a lower rate, and they're making a profit. But in addition to that, of course, they're adding it on. That is a ridiculous situation. And Eamon Rain used to say wind energy will bring down the cost of wind, cost of electricity. That was totally false, because the wind gets, whatever the gas is, the wind goes up to that. Another lie, another falsehood. So you can see that it's all falsehoods. It's partly liars. It's also partly people who just cannot count, trying to run this system. And now it's big. There was a protest in Dublin yesterday about the cost of living. Will the people who take the day off to protest about the cost of living, will they please look at my material on energy? Please study it. I know most of them can't accept it. They can't believe it. Well, why are they out protesting against a Fine Gael and a Fianna Fáil and a Green government? Right? Why are they out doing that when they go back and vote them into power again? And that's what they're going to do, mostly. Or they'll vote in the equivalent Sinn Féin. This is the big problem I often ask. Now, folks, I hope I've explained that to you, and I'm going to keep harping on it because my day in the sun has arrived. For a long, long time, I was ridiculed, laughed at, and derided in every way. Oh, that doesn't know what he's talking about. The fact is, the crows are coming home to roost. The whole thing is a mess, and the only way I can see out of it is generating your own, particularly dairy farms and all that. I mean, why would you rely on why would you rely on an electricity grid that can't guarantee a supply? You need to have your alternative generating in there. Most places are just single phase. You need a diesel single phase generator, and once you have the fuel in the tank, well, you know you have it there. You're not depending on it. And that's the thing. It'll be the same with heating. We'll have a look at heating. And folks, that's the best I can do for you now. Give me a thumbs up, a thumbs down. And that's just from the newspaper. So I'm not saying it myself. The whole thing is an outrageous mess with outrageous rascals. And the Greens are still screwing on the pressure to put on their carbon taxes and everything else. And they expect China, India, and Russia and all these places and Saudi Arabia to go along with this crazy, crazy scheme. Thumbs up, folks, or thumbs down. And thank you very much. We'll see you back. Bye.